Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Gaynor again, and I'm here to talk with you about introductions. Now, the introduction might not be your favorite part of the paper to write because it isn't mine at all. And I think that people either have a knack for them or they don't, and they have to work at them a little harder. For me, I'm much more comfortable with conclusions, which we'll get to in a few weeks. So I think that learning other ways to think about introductions, as well as things that we can find in introductions and good introductions, makes it easier to write them. So it helps me to think about the introduction as a promise that the writer is making to the reader about what's going to be in the paper. Whatever is in the introduction, whatever the author claims the paper is going to be about, that needs to be what follows. If it's not mentioned in the introduction, it shouldn't be in the paper. However, sometimes we start writing and our writing takes us a place we didn't expect to go. So in that case, you might have to go back and it would be much easier to change your introduction than to change your entire paper. So you always want to make sure that the introduction and the paper match. So what's in an introduction? It's good to think about what is in them to know what to put in yours. I like lists. I like to see if I have done different characteristics or follow certain steps. So I think this will help you, especially if you struggle putting things in an introduction. In fact, most of the time, students are likely to skip even having an introduction at all because they have such trepidation about writing them. But you really do need an introduction. So here are some common possibilities, and we can also think about the articles we read last week and what those authors did in their introductions, and that might give us some ideas and some examples. So one of the main things that's in an introduction, especially in a formal paper, is a thesis statement. And as we know, a thesis statement is a sentence or sometimes two that tells exactly what the focus of the paper is. And in the weeks to come, we're going to cover this more closely. So right now, I'm just going to say a thesis statement and let you know that we're going to come back to these a little later. I know that they can be difficult to write well. Something else that you might choose is a striking assertion. This is when you include something that seems improbable or far-fetched to get the reader's attention. Now, it should be something true. It could be something that you found as you were researching or writing your paper, and it should be relevant to the paper. Otherwise, why would you include it? So something that's surprising will help draw the reader in. The third thing you might put is an anecdote or a brief story of a paragraph or two that sets up and or illustrates the point you want to make. Nick Childs did this in his What Men Say When We're Not Around that we read this week. We got the little story about him and his wife and their argument. So that is an example of an anecdote. We don't want the story to overpower the paper, but if it's a related story, we can boil it down and make it brief and relevant, then that might be a great way to start out. Fourth, we have an interesting detail, statistic, or quotation. This could be something that you found as you did your research. It could also be a quote that's related to the theme of your paper, but maybe not necessarily by any expert or author that you're working with in the paper. Things like Bartleby.com provide quotes. Just make sure that you do cite the right person. If you use a quote from one of those quote pages, make sure that it is actually that person. Some of them are more reliable than others, so you might want to just double check who said what before you use it. A lot of times, an interesting statistic or an impressive statistic might be something to include in an introduction, and then, of course, no matter what you do there, you should back those things up or refer to them again in the body of the paper so the reader knows why they were presented with this in the first place. And the fifth thing that you could include is a provocative question. This is a real question that you want the reader to consider as they begin your paper. Now, if you're going to ask one of these, what you write should lead the readers to understand the question, to be given the information to answer the question, and maybe to answer it as you would by the end of the paper if you're trying to be persuasive. So those five things, a thesis statement, a striking assertion, an anecdote, an interesting detail, statistic, or quotation, or a provocative question are all things that you could put in your introduction to make it stronger. Now, Many texts use these. They might use more than one of them. I don't think putting all of them in one introduction is a good idea, but I think that a lot of times people will include a thesis statement and a striking assertion, a thesis statement and an interesting detail or statistic. So a lot of times a good intro might have a combo of a couple of these things. So if you find yourself struggling, your introductory paragraph looks skimpy, look and see if you have any of these five and try adding a good one to fatten that paragraph up a bit. All right. The other things that we need to think about when we're looking at introductions is that the introduction is an important part of the paper because it's a reader's first impression of you, the writer. And as they say, first impressions matter, and they do in writing as well. If you have an excellent introduction that's proofread, that's got a great thesis statement, it has a nice anecdote, the reader is going to be drawn into that. Even a reader who might be a professor or a teacher who's grading, and they're going to go into that paper in a good frame of mind to consider your work. So it cannot hurt you to have a good first impression with your introduction. Now, these last three things, I want you to think about the introduction in general when you think of these. Be direct. Get right to the point. Even if you're using an anecdote, a quote, whatever, don't make that reader guess what the paper is about. This isn't a mystery novel. We want to know what we're going to get when we're reading papers. Also, sharpen your focus. Don't be too broad in the scope, and then again, don't overgeneralize. Sometimes when we think, oh my gosh, I have to write a 3-page paper, a 5-page paper, or worse, a 10, a 12, a 25. We think we have to have a giant idea because otherwise we're not going to have enough material. But oftentimes, to do a paper topic and do it well, smaller is better. So if your introduction sounds like you're going to be introducing an encyclopedic set of something, then you probably should narrow it down to exactly what you're going to talk about. And it's okay to have a working introduction, especially if you write like I do, where you have a general idea what you want to do, but sometimes you don't know where you're going till you get there. But then you must go back, tighten up that introduction, and make it match the paper. Also, emphasize the main idea. After someone reads that introduction, it should be clear to them what is going to follow, what this paper is going to be about, possibly even the order that the content of the paper will appear. So an introduction has a lot of work to do, and we don't want it to be skimpy. We want it to be full and doing its job appropriately. Finally, when you finish writing your paper, go back, as I said, and make sure the introduction that you wrote fits the paper that came after. If it doesn't, make it. If it's easier to move parts of the paper around, do that, but it's probably easier to alter your introduction. Um, if it's a very long paper, I might go through the paper and jot down on a post-it, okay, these are the things I covered. There was this, then this, and make sure that I've introduced those main parts in my introduction in the same order that they appear in the paper. So hopefully these tips will help you make a better introduction. And this week when I see papers, I will see lots of lovely full introductions. Thanks and have a good week.